Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Climbing in Heels for your weekly dose of glamour, inspiration, and of course, fun. This week is another monumental episode of Climbing in Heels as we welcome our second ever male guest, the TikTok sensation, Jake Shane. I met Jake a few months ago, and we instantly connected. His massive success with both social media and his amazing podcast, Therapuss, are clearly just the beginning of what will be a very long career in the entertainment industry. Without further ado, the adorable, hilarious Jake Shane. So I'm very excited to have you, and I'm very excited to sort of hear all about you and how you became you, because you're very young, and I weirdly think we have a lot of common interests. I know you love horoscopes and signs and the whole thing, which is one of my greatest obsessions.
Oh, good. So you'll be able to tell me about it, because I'm obsessed, but like I don't know, and it's like a bit that I don't know anything. Like on my latest podcast episode, I told someone they were a Cancer and they were a Gemini. Like it was just embarrassing.
What are you?
I'm a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio? We shouldn't even be talking, but that's
What are you?
I'm a Virgo.
Wait, I love Virgos. Is that not normal?
No, it is. I think you guys love us. I think we struggle with you, but it's okay.
Okay.
I'm here for it. But I'm also here to say that like I'm really down to like love a Scorpio. Like because I feel like I can be changed. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I can't be that judgy, but again, I'm a Virgo, so we are really freaking judgy.
If it makes it better, my rising's Gemini and my moon is Gemini, so I come off as a Gemini a lot of the time.
So maybe that's why. Yeah. I don't know that I'd click with a Scorpio off the bat, at hello, like we did,
Right. We clicked.
We clicked at hello. Like it was a hug, and it was with Cade, who we love.
Yes. Love.
So I need to understand. Okay. So born and raised where?
I was born in LA.
Okay.
And then I moved.
So it's not totally new.
No, but I moved when I was 2 years old to New York.
So new. Okay, fair.
And then I kind of bopped around New York a little, and then where I really settled was the suburbs, Westchester, from when I was 6 years old to I think 11 years old.
Okay.
Or 12. I want to say 11 or 12.
Okay.
And then I moved to Washington Heights in New York City because it was hard to be gay in the suburbs. And then my mom was also like, get me the fuck out of here. And
of course.
He moved to Washington Heights. Okay. And I lived in Washington Heights from 7th grade. So when I was 12 to 20.
Okay.
I went to college at USC. So I moved to LA.
Nice. So you've really had a New York, LA thing.
But during COVID, I was 20 and I was in Washington Heights at the time because everyone went home. And I was like, I can't be here. And so I went back to my college apartment in LA. And that's kind of when I really consider done, because we sold our place there and my parents live now out here with me. And we all moved out here.
That's so fun. So you're super close with your parents.
Yeah, I love them. They drive me crazy, but I love them.
Honestly, I live for my parents, but there's literally no one that can drive me more crazy than my parents. I think that's the job. I think it's
they know how to get, they know how to get me. They know how to poke,
it's a trigger. That's where triggers came from. Your parents.
Yes. I will say my mom she's always excited about what I do, but she was especially excited today because she always watched your show with me as a kid. She actually put me onto it.
That makes me so happy. So did you, when you were a kid watching me, were you like, that bitch is crazy?
No, I actually didn't think you were crazy at all because my mom, Does your mom love fashion? Yeah, she loves fashion and she didn't think you were crazy. She loved you. And I didn't think you were I kind of just based my opinion off of what she thought.
Right. Okay.
I was like, okay, well, my mom.
As a good son does.
Yeah. And I never thought you were crazy. I thought the show was great reality television.
Oh, I love that.
I really describe myself as I was a reality TV kid. That's what I was watching. I was watching VH1. I was watching MTV. I was watching Bravo. I was watching E! I was very into reality television.
I don't know if this surprises you or doesn't. Because I did a show, I have never seen another reality. I could barely watch my show.
You've never seen Housewives, anything?
Nope.
Are you just so I can't? like it reminds you too much of like your experience doing reality TV?
I know too much. I think I
Yeah.
know, but I'll be very honest with you. I've pretty much winged my entire life, if that makes
Right.
sense. And I just kind of went with it. And I think when I started my show, everyone, when I was working on it, I remember the head of Bravo was like, "What are your favorite shows?" And I was like, "Don't watch
Yeah.
any." It was like
Right.
when I wrote my books, "What are your favorite books?" Don't have any. So
I don't
it was
read that.
sort of
So.
right. So I think it was just sort of like, I'm just going to wing this. And then I think it was hard enough for me to do the show. So I think it was sort of like, when I'm not doing this, I'm not also watching other shows. I also
Right.
don't love to be influenced in that way too. It's a little
Okay.
bit like when I had my clothing line, I didn't really love to look at other people's because you don't want to even be subconsciously sort of swayed into something, if that makes sense.
I
So
know I 100% like it's like an anxiety thing, I think. You're
it
like, I
is. That's
like it like makes me anxious. It's like I don't want to by accidentally like copy something like subconsciously, and then yeah, it's an anxiety thing. I totally get that.
I want to talk to you about that. So I'm glad you brought that up. So I have really come to terms and am very open about the fact that I feel that in a weird way, my anxiety has always been my superpower. I kind of really have, I don't really think I've ever considered my anxiety. I sort of make fun of myself about it. And I don't mean to belittle it. I don't mean to use it as like an adjective, I guess is what I'm saying. But I think I consider myself to be like an anxious person, but I don't necessarily look at it as a negative. I've kind of always looked at it as it's a little bit of my fire. It's a little bit of my motivator. It's a little bit of the thing that like wakes me up in the morning and wants me to be better at something. I think that's how I've always viewed it. But I know that you're very open about anxiety and mental health in general. So I want to talk to you about that. So have you been this way like your whole life? Were you
Yes, my
like,
entire life. Well, like I'm
and were you
Jewish.
open about it? Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
so anxiety kind of comes with the territory is kind of
100%.
what my parents always told me.
Which is why I never viewed it as anxiety. I was like, this is just who we are.
And I just remember like always being anxious as a kid. I have really bad OCD, so that like my anxiety, I view it kind of like if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be motivated. I
Right.
wouldn't be like good at like I don't know like what I do exactly. I mean, I wouldn't be good at like hosting or being passionate. Like
Sure.
it
It's
keeps me
part of your
passionate. Yeah.
personality. It's like you're fast, you move, you think a lot, you overthink a lot.
There's just
You
no getting rid of it. So like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm not gonna be like, I'm on meds and it'll subdue it, but there's no getting rid of it. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, it's the worst thing in the world because it's here. So like, I might as well just. It's like, have you seen the movie Inside Out 2?
Not yet. Oh wait. What now? What's the one out now?
Inside Out
The
2.
second one.
Oh, okay. I
You've
haven't
the
seen it.
first
I've seen the first one.
Okay,
I
so the
wasn't sure if there
second
was three or
one,
two.
they introduced anxiety, and like the whole
Interesting.
concept of the movie is like kind of about the regulation of emotions and how every emotion is needed in some capacity, and like anxiety is needed in some capacity. And like anxiety doesn't mean like doesn't have ill intentions. It's just too much of it becomes a bad thing.
Yes. Yes. I agree. And it's funny because I remember when I lived in New York in my like heyday of the best years of my actual life, pre-children, and people used to be like, "Are you on drugs?" And I'm like, "No." Not like at that point, I wasn't even barely drinking caffeine. And
Right.
it's like this excitement. It's like an excitement, but it also, to your point, I think it's sort of like you are or you aren't, and you manage it or you don't. And it's how much you embrace it and cope with it and manage it. And I think to your point, use it to help you, use it
Right.
as fuel, right? I think if you mentally look at it as fuel in many ways, then you can embrace it as a positive rather than something
100%.
scary and overwhelming,
I think you just need to know that once you know that like what it's projecting isn't real, which isn't
right.
very hard. It's not possible for me yet. Sorry, there's a garbage truck evidently.
You're a child. You are 24. You have so much more to cope with that like this is going to get easier for you in many ways.
I know, I hope. I've realized that like working out helps it, and like doing something creative helps it. Like I'm kind of narcissistic, so talking about myself helps it. Like, just being honest. Like,
by the way, always be honest.
Yeah.
I love you more for that. And also that's how you became you, to being honest.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I remember when this all kind of happened. I was kind of like, I'm just like, once you accept the fact that like, well, I don't know, not everyone's transparent, but I would consider myself to be a pretty transparent person. Like everyone, even if I'm not being transparent, can see right through me and like can see what I'm thinking. Once I accepted that, like life got so much easier.
You know, you've obviously had so much success and at a very young age. I mean, I feel like you probably just graduated like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
You're like last month.
Oh my
But
God.
like you have this massive success pretty quickly, right? For being yourself. And I mean, what does that feel like? And was it intentional? You know, because like, did you come out of school and be like, this is what I'm doing? Or did this just kind of like, you're just rolling with it?
I thought I was going to work in music for the rest of my life. I was an intern at a record label since I was a junior, or the summer of COVID. So end of my sophomore year. And I kept that. And then I took a break my senior year because I had done it for a year, like my entire junior year. And they were like, okay, like finish college and come back and we can see if there's a full-time position for you. And I like made this like octopus account in the meantime, just like to keep me busy. Like it was like funny, like it was just a joke. I was in college.
But why octopus? Like I have to understand this. I use octopus as a, like, I'll be like, oh, he's like an octopus. Like just too much personal space. And like, you know,
it was like it was my bougie snack. Like I ate it. Like I would go out to like Chiconi's West Hollywood and get like grilled octopus, and like
they have the best grilled octopus there. I don't even like grilled octopus, and theirs is great.
Then you need to get it from Angelini Palisades as well, because that one took over for me, at least in my mind.
I actually weirdly have had a bite of that one. I know that
it's good.
It's
good.
It's
like
good.
Arugula, it's lemony.
I won't order it, but I'll have a bite of someone's.
Yeah. But maybe we'll go and we'll order it.
Okay. I would do that. I would absolutely share a grilled octopus with you.
Yes, please. I would be honored.
Okay.
But
let's do that.
I graduated. I was working full-time at the record label. I was an assistant to this guy named Zach. And he just like always like when you have someone around you that like lets you be your full self, like you kind of unlock your full potential. So like he never judged me. Like every joke I made, like even if I wasn't being intentionally funny, he thought was funny and like egged me on and encouraged it. It was just a really happy time. That was probably like the happiest time of my life. Like I was like making TikToks on the side, but I was like doing my job during the day. Like it didn't like it felt like very like, okay, as long as my like job is good, like we're good. I can make these TikToks. It's like nothing. I didn't think anything of it. And he always made this joke, kind of like, if anything ever happens, I'll manage you. And then something did happen like over the course of 1 week. And I don't know, it wasn't even like a question like, well, are you going to do it? Like, it just was kind of like, we were kind of like, we both knew like, okay, like we both felt like, all right, well, it's happening. Like you're going to manage me now. And it was kind of like kismet. And it was like the perfect person to meet at the perfect time. And like, I couldn't imagine like doing it with like any other people around me.
I love that. See? Yeah. And you couldn't have ever planned that.
No, it was just like, I thought I had a plan. Like, I was like, this is you like, maybe I'll reach 100,000 followers by the end of the year.
Right.
And then it was like 1 million in a week. And I was like, and Zach always believes in me. Like, he's always like, you're going to get to 1 million. Like he's like always like putting these like end goals for me. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But he literally said like, you're going to get to 1 million by the end of the year. And I was like, Zach, that's not true. But he's just like the best.
That's so I mean, I think what I could try to tell you at 24 is you sometimes just have to let life happen, because as an anxious person, you're going to overthink it to the point of no return. And it's like, I think you're already seeing the success. And I think it's sort of like, it's good for you to stay very real about it and be like, that's not going to happen, and keep yourself in check. Right. But I think it's great to have people around you that are your like cheerleaders, that are there for the journey. And, you know, I think it's great. I think that's fantastic. And by the way, I'm launching my TikTok soon, and I might need some mentoring.
Yeah, if you need any help, TikTok is like I would pride myself in being pretty good at it. So
that's great, because I pride myself in really sucking at it. I have not launched it.
It's like a language. Once you learn it, you kind of like can get with it. Like it's really just like a language. Like it's like doing like Duolingo every day. Like you kind of like have to do your TikTok. Like I did not get it at all. I remember like like watching
It's very
like
confusing.
very confusing. I remember watching like the Charlie D'Amelios and everyone and being like,
Uh-huh.
how the fuck are they editing these? How are they doing
Yeah.
it? And then
Yeah.
one kind of just, and I remember my best friend Brett and I were always like so confused. We're like, how do we do this? Once you get this, like it used to take us 4 hours to edit one TikTok. Once you get the swing of it,
Right.
you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, done.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm literally going to need the 101 tutoring of this because, people keep going, why aren't you on TikTok? I always hear your voice on TikTok, your things from your show on TikTok. And I'm
Right.
like, it's like a whole new, because I can Instagram till, I'm purple. Like
Right.
that's my first language. But now, to your point, I need to
You
get
can learn another
bilingual.
one.
I do. I really do. Okay. So tell me about your pod because it has a cult following and I want to know how you got the name and like why and what the obsession with octopus in this bougie kind of life. And I
Okay.
get you because I speak you. I get it.
Right.
Like I
It just
totally
like
get it.
kind of became this thing. Like my friends always called octopus puss. Like it was just a thing. It was like it just was a thing, and that's like what I named the account. And then like,
Does your mother love that it's called Puss?
yeah, she thought it was funny, and she loved it. She's like my
She's
mom
your
is like
biggest cheerleader, of
biggest
course. I
supporter. She's
have
like,
two boys.
do it, like yeah, like, but she it just like everything kind of became a play on puss, and it was like I had this Instagram story called "Tell Me What's Wrong," and it would just I would give very blunt advice. And so when
Right.
I was thinking about making a podcast, I was like, okay, well, I want to do that, and then we could do like therapy, and then I was like, oh, Therapuss. Like it was very quick, like one, two,
Right.
just quick, and like it just kind of. I remember the room I was in. I was in my old office. Like I was there because my now manager. I was just with him, and like I was sitting in like one of the rooms with like my old coworkers, and I was like, oh, Therapuss, and that's kind of how it happened. And then it just kind of like I didn't really know what I was doing at first. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, like, what is the point? Like, I feel like I shouldn't be doing this. And then the pussies, who are the people that follow me, really just like showed up for me. And like my friends showed up for me. Everyone who I needed to show up for me really showed up for me. And so in return, I was like, I'm going to show up tenfold and like,
Right.
I'm going to make this my entire personality. And that's kind of like how it kind of came to be.
And you wake up excited every single day to do it all.
Yes, I haven't been filming lately. I just filmed the season finale. We're ending the season next week, 42
Okay.
episodes. And
Amazing.
or we call them sessions because it's
Right.
therapy.
Of course.
And then I'm gonna take it on tour in October. And yeah, that's
so
the current
exciting.
plan.
That's so much fun. Okay. What scares you? Like, what is your biggest challenge in this new life of yours? Because now it's been probably what, like 2 years
A year and a
that you've
half.
really been at it, year and a half. I
Year and a
mean, really
What
new.
scares
So you
me
must
is
have a
like
lot of,
looking like an idiot. That's always been like my number one fear. Like just embarrassing
really?
myself.
I
Yeah,
would
like
not think that's a fear of yours, weirdly.
it is. It's like I don't want to show up and like number one, have no one care. I think my
Right.
fear is
Right.
like have no one care
Yeah, of
and be
course.
like, look at him. Like
Right.
what he's doing is so embarrassing. He's so
Right.
embarrassing.
Yep.
I think it's just like I'm just so scared of being embarrassed at all times. And like I think that's why I try to embarrass myself. I think that's like
Right.
kind of like
Yes.
a crux of comedy. Like, it's
Yes.
like I'm gonna embarrass myself before you can embarrass me.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's
I'm
like
going to break up with you before you break
before
up
you
with
break up with
me.
me.
Yes.
So it's like a lot of my humor is very self-deprecating
Mhm.
because I'm like, oh no. Like if you think you're gonna do this, like I'm gonna do it, but like 10 times, so you can't even say
Mhm.
anything.
That's so interesting. I actually think we're freakishly similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when I was growing my career, I think when I was coming in my career, people would be like, what are you so afraid of? And I'm
Yeah.
like, because it was never my intention to be in the public eye. I think I never had an expectation for people to show up for me.
Right.
And I remember when I was younger and I used to have birthday parties every year, I was always like, nobody's going to come. Like nobody's going to come. And if you ask my team, they would say, what's the thing that people don't know about Rachel? And they'd be like, they would tell you that she thinks no one's coming to anything that she ever does still today. So I so understand what you mean. And you don't. And I remember when I was doing my show, sort of like, why does anyone want to watch this? Like, why does, you know what I mean? And that's a hard thing. And I think for you that the greatest thing about TikTok is it's so instant. right?
Right.
Like it's so immediate. Like
It's the
you're not
blessing.
like filming a movie that no one's showing up to watch, you
Right.
know?
It's a blessing and a curse because like
Yeah,
you
like
kind of become
everything.
addicted to this like instant
Immediate feedback,
gratification.
of course.
So like sometimes when things take time to grow, as they do, like Zach will have to tell me like you like I remember like for the podcast he was like, okay, so like you nothing is gonna happen until maybe a year or two of you doing this. So just plan on
Mhm.
you doing this for a year or two, and
Mhm.
then it'll start to grow. And I was like, so that's not gonna cut it in my book. Like I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Like I'm going to full throttle this and like I'm gonna make it happen.
Right.
But I do
And look what happened.
yeah, I know. I'm so excited. I mean, I'm so excited to tour because that's like the number one reason why I did the podcast. It's like to have like a live show that I can like
Yeah.
present. So like
Okay.
that's gonna be fun.
Well, that's interesting because I actually was thinking, I was like, you're such this big personality and you're so obviously entertaining. I mean, have you ever in your life thought like, I want to be live? Like, I want to do stand up? Like, I
Yeah,
actually,
I used to
yeah.
take stand up. I took stand up classes for a few months when I was
Is
in
it
seventh.
scary? That's like my
Yeah,
worst fear. Like, I can't even karaoke. That's like my actual worst nightmare.
stand up is the scariest thing in the world. I
It
took classes at
is.
the Gotham, if you know the Gotham Comedy Club in Chelsea, when I
Uh-huh.
was in seventh grade. So that was fun. And I remember being like, oh, I like this. But then like high school happened and I'm too embarrassed to do anything. Everything's fucking
Of
embarrassing
course.
at
Of
school.
course.
And like
Everything.
you like
Everything.
lose yourself and just like the worst time. It's the worst.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I'm happy that like I've found this myself again and like I'm able to be like, no, this is what I want to do. And it really is just who you surround yourself with, honestly.
It really is. I mean, okay, so I know this seems like a logical question coming from me, but I'm curious, like, do you like fashion? Like, meaning, like, would you ever want to do anything in the world of fashion, or is that like terrifying to you and zero
Oh my God,
interest?
like that is like the epitome of like cool for me. So like yeah, like of course I would love to do anything in fashion. Like, are you kidding? Like my mom like took me to a fashion show once when I was like 8 years old. I wore like a
Which
hoodie.
one? Do you remember?
It was Gwen Stefani's Lamb collection.
Yes, I was probably there. I was
Yes, I
probably
have I'll
there.
show you a photo of me. I was very little. I was in a hoodie. It was ridiculous, but I love fashion. I used to like my mom loves fashion and I'm not a very fashionable person, but I love it. I think it's so cool. Like I went to like one fashion show last year. I went to the Tommy Hilfiger show and it was like
Oh,
the coolest
yeah.
experience of my
He's
life.
the
And like,
best. He's the sweetest human
yeah,
ever, too.
he's awesome. And
He's
like
awesome. My greatest mentor in my life,
oh
in my
really?
career. Mhm.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
He gave me my first big break when I was 24, 25.
Are you
Mhm.
serious? What were you doing?
He gave me the biggest job of my life. I had just gone freelance. I'd been working for a magazine. I was your age. And he called me into his office because I knew his brother, Andy, and I had been pulling denim from his brother. He was doing like a J-Lo denim collection, his
Right.
brother, Andy. And Tommy called me into his office and I was so nervous. I like had no idea what was happening. And he basically gave me a 2 week massive ad campaign for his
Wow.
main collection, for the younger collection. The first week was shot in Austin with like 10 major celebrities. And the
Right.
second week was out here in LA at the Griffith Observatory with like literally 30 male and female supermodels of the time.
Wow.
And I led the entire thing. And I looked at him like, why are you giving me this job? Like, I don't know that I can do this. And he was like, yes, you can. I know you
Oh,
can.
that's amazing.
And I didn't even know him.
Yeah.
Like it was the most terrifying experience of my life, but I did it and I had like 400 panic attacks on the job,
Right.
but like but I did it and
That's
and
all
it
good
got me
experience.
ready.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
would you go back to Fashion Week? Like I feel like you have to hit
yes,
Fashion Week.
yes, of course. If I'm invited, of course. But I'm like so not inherently a fashionable person. But like
Doesn't matter.
that's why I feel so Hollywood to me. It feels so cool. It feels so like I don't know. I used to remember like love like thinking it was the coolest thing in the world when I was a kid. So yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. Like I would die to go back to Fashion Week. Like if I'm
Something
invited.
tells me you are going to have a lot of invites to Fashion Week and you're going to take your mom as your date.
Oh my God, my mom would die. She would die. She would die. She would just be like on her phone taking photos the whole time, like thinking it was the coolest thing in the world.
That's my forecast for you. I feel like there's Fashion Weeks and mom as your date.
Yeah.
I see it. You were born in 2000?
1999.
1999. Okay. So like 2000, probably like 2000 to 2000 and probably 5 before I moved out to LA. It was 24/7 Backstreet, Britney, NSYNC, Jessica, Enrique, literally like music videos, album covers,
Was it
touring.
as crazy as the time seemed?
It was more than it seemed. It was the
Yeah.
craziest. I would have like 100 racks of clothes, like for the guy, I mean, Prada, Dolce, and this one. And I needed like, I would have 50 racks because each guy needed like 5 changes and they needed like, it was the craziest. I'm pretty sure I didn't sleep for 11 years. I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But it was fun and it was boot camp and it was the best. And it was the music industry was, at the height of pop culture of just being that. I was shooting covers of Rolling Stone. I mean, it was really, really, really fun. It was really crazy and really fun. And just, it's funny. I think about it now when people ask me about it and I remember it like in real time, like, right, that happened. Right. I was in Monaco with Britney Spears when she ripped her skirt because it was too long and she tore it and then ripped her t-shirt because she wanted it cropped, that kind of thing.
You would do stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. I would put her in couture and then she would literally like go into the dressing room, come out, and like it was cropped. And I was like, that's couture. Like, I think, I did. Yeah. I died. Like I literally died. 100%. Kind of amazing. I've died 120 deaths in fashion.
Right.
For sure. Okay. So tell me hopes and dreams beyond today. Like what in your mind is like the next, or do you just try to live present, but knowing you for the last hour, I'm thinking you don't live in the present and you're constantly thinking about the next thing. I mean, I've never lived in the present, so I'm working on that still.
Ever. It's who I am. I try, but it's like, I really want to get into acting. That's like a dream of mine. And I want to kind of turn Therapuss into like late night for Gen Z. I feel like there's no late night for Gen Z. I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know.
Old people like my parents that watch it.
Yeah, and I think late night is such a cool concept.
It is.
It's so American and it's been around forever. Like I would hate to see it go away. So like I would love to like kind of like turn Therapuss into a late night for Gen
like
Z.
The new James Corden.
Kind of,
but young.
Yeah.
Not that he's old, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I have a question. So does then that live on television or does in your mind, would that live on television or in some kind of other?
I think it would live on streamers in a live sense. So it would be live like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then you could watch it after as well.
Genius. I love it. I'd watch it.
Yeah, that's my idea.
Okay. So let's manifest that.
I know I'm trying. I'm really trying to manifest. Like my ideal dream would be like Netflix live 3 times a week, late night, musical guest, talent, bits, Jake Shane, late night live.
I see this for you. I see this for you. Not only do I see it for you, but I actually see you like as the next like Dave Letterman. You're going to be doing it until you're 80.
Oh, like I wouldn't. That's the thing is like I never want to stop entertaining. Like I always just like I'll always want to. It doesn't feel like work ever.
Jake, we like to do this with all of our guests. Rachel's going to give you a little rapid round of questions,
and then I'm going to let you go.
And it doesn't. You don't have to answer in like one word or anything. You can elaborate if you need to,
or you can do what.
It's just to get to know you a little bit.
I obviously already know the first answer: Instagram or TikTok.
It depends on the day.
Okay, that's fair.
It depends on the day.
One star sign you would never date.
A Leo.
Fair. A Scorpio and a Leo would like implode.
Yeah.
100%. Okay. The food item you can't live without, which I think I know.
It's octopus, but it's also white rice.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I don't think my son could live without white rice. Netflix and chill or dance on tables?
Dance on tables.
I knew that. I test in my mind. I answered the question. Yeah. Test myself. If you were arrested, what would it be for?
God, like if it was 2 years ago, it would probably be like doing something drunk and stupid in college, but probably like drunk and disorderly. Like I don't know. Like that's what I would imagine.
Okay, favorite beauty product.
I use like Laneige lip mask. I really like.
Yeah.
And I like my Rhode face wash.
Yeah.
And
good.
Yeah, I think, and I like my Drunk Elephant bronzer.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I love that one. Okay, who's your hero?
Taylor Swift.
Everyone's
I don't even know why I
fucking
think about
hero. Everyone's fucking hero. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite TikToker?
Favorite TikToker? It's a good question. I'm trying to think of who I religiously watch. My favorite TikToker is probably my best friends. I like watching what they have to post, like Brett,
Okay.
Julia, all of them.
Okay. Because you're invested in it too.
Yeah.
Okay. New York or LA?
LA.
Favorite TV show?
Of all time?
Uh-huh.
Girls on HBO.
Okay. 1989 or Torture Poets Department?
1989.
Oh my God, you're the cutest. I
Oh.
adore you, Jake. I'm so happy we met.
Me too. I'm so happy. This was so fun.
So much fun. I can't wait to be your best friend and I can't wait to
Yes.
hang out. And I'm terrified to launch TikTok, so you're going to have to hold my hand.
Don't be. I will help you.
That is a whole new world. And you
Yeah.
know us people with anxiety, that is hard.
It's scary. Change is scary.
That is hard. All right, I'm sending you the most love. Have a beautiful week. I hope I see you soon.
Yes, I will see you soon. Thank you for having me.
Say hi to your mom.
I will.
I hope you have a wonderful autumn.
You too. We'll make sure of it.
Thank you so much to Jake for being on the pod. You are such a star at such a young age, and I honestly love the most your humor and transparency. I just laughed this entire episode. We had so much fun, and he taught me a lot. I feel like I am ready to embrace the very scary world of TikTok, and I'm hoping that Jake will be my new friend and hold my hand through it, because it will be a whole new world for me. So thank you so much to everyone for listening to Climbing in Heels. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the iHeart app, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you don't miss a single episode this season. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Rachel Zoe and the show at Climbing in Heels Pod for the latest episodes and updates. I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Here's something wild. I don't know if this surprises you or doesn't. Because I did a show, I have never seen another reality. Like I could barely watch my show.
You've never seen like Housewives, anything?